Hey everyone, welcome to Doug Does Stuff. I'm Doug, and I know it's been a while since my last video. Summer has been a total whirlwind, and I really don't know what happened to it. That's not why we're here. We're here because of these coasters. If you've been watching, you know that I've been trying to print some nice looking coasters face down, and I've been having first layer issues. Well, after months of back and forth with Anycubic support, they said that this is the best the printer can do. I was shocked. And you know what? That's not good enough. So before we get into this, go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment, and let's get going. I am reading off a teleprompter, trying something new, so bear with me. All right, so how we got here. As you know, I've been struggling with my Kobra S1 for months. I bought this unit at the beginning of March at Micro Center after finally finding it in stock and driving the 3-hour round trip to get it. I had it ordered on Amazon, I had it ordered in other places, and it was just months out. So this was a great find. So I thought. I had heard nothing but love for this printer, and I was ready to love 3D printing. Because coming from an Ender 3 Pro and Ender 3 V2, well, if you know about the tinkering. So again, I was excited. And well, for the first 30 hours, it was set it and forget it. Yeah. But then on March 29th, I came back to the printer to the big blob of death on my hot end. Now, listen, I know it's not as big as some of the other blobs I've seen out there, but it was big enough to be an issue. So I reached out to Anycubic support, and after going back and forth a little bit, realizing it was the hot end that leaked, they sent me a new hot end right away. But here's the thing. Ever since that hot end issue, the first layer has been a nightmare. And since then, it has been one thing after another. Clogs, broken filament, bed leveling issues. Lately, not staying connected to Wi-Fi or the Anycubic cloud. In my latest ordeal, which has had the printer shut down for 2 weeks because I haven't even wanted to look at it, I've been so frustrated. Abnormal retraction when changing colors. But let's talk about the first issue that got us here, because that is the root of all of this and the common theme across my videos. And listen, this is not the video I want to make, right? I want to make printing videos. I want to show you how to use the 4 colors, how to take a second unit and use 8 colors. I want to do hue forge and lithopane stuff. I want to do some cool stuff. But again, my printer's been off for a couple weeks because I haven't wanted to deal with it. I've been pretty frustrated, Anycubic, if you're listening. I really have. So where are we now? All right. This video had to be made because of something I read in a comment in one of my last videos, which has been kind of resonating with me lately. Someone said, "Hey Doug, just because support is responding to you doesn't mean they're actually helping you or doing you any good." And even more so, after going back and rereading the emails, that's been hitting me kind of hard because I've been feeling that way and I don't want to. Listen, I even went out and bought an Anycubic Kobra 3 V2, which, by the way, fingers crossed, has been great. However, back to the S1, because that's why we're here. It's been about 2 months of back and forth with support on this original issue. Actually, a little more, because I think it started in May. And it really hasn't gotten me anywhere. but where I started with a printer that is incapable of printing a solid and respectable first layer. So I want to share with you the exchanges I've had with Anycubic support over the last few months. But listen, I'm not here to blow anybody up at Anycubic. I'm not here to complain about a particular person. I'm just here to call out the issue. So I've redacted names and emails in the following pictures so that we can focus on what has been going back and forth and not the person who's been responding to me. Right? I just want to make that clear. All right. So I'd received a new bed in May after my original email about my bed being warped. You'll see it in a picture coming up. They sent me a new bed, and then I filed a new ticket because I wanted to know, because I couldn't find it anywhere, how to install not how to install the bed, but how to factory level the 3 points on the carriage as a starting point. And that's really what started this chain of emails, of which there have been 49 messages back and forth between support and myself. So I've done my work. So my original email on June 6th was to ask, like I said, how to factory set the carriage level so that I could install my new bed. And I've gone and done that. So let's go to the computer. I'm going to walk through the emails and tell you how we got to where we got. All right, so here we go. Here's the first email. The response in the first email didn't really answer my question. So I asked it again, saying, unfortunately, it didn't answer, and here's my question. After a few more emails about the bed install and the bed slope that I was getting of 1.5 from the back to the front, I got frustrated and sent another email with more details, more questions, and pictures to try and get my point across. And here you can see that, and then the pictures of the bed, and you can see the light coming through and how warped this bed actually was. Well, I got a response from support, and there was something interesting in there. It said that a 0.3 millimeter assembly error was in the acceptable range. That was a little shocking because I was far off from 0.3. So the next email I got, after going back and forth a few times, trying to get our communication sorted, I was told to install the new print bed, which I had already done, and report back if the prints failed. Well, as you can see in this picture, I sent pics of the first layer, test print, and how my bed mesh was a 1.5 deviation, not only in slope, because I think I had fixed that, but a 1.5 deviation in bed mesh across the whole thing. Right. So again, a few more emails back and forth about doing things I have already done. I was directed to a video of an old Ender printer on YouTube and how to use foil tape to shim the bed. I will tell you, I was extremely frustrated at this point and annoyed. I was pretty angry and heated. I sent a frustrated email back with some very pointed questions at this point. That's this email. I received a response about how to use glue to keep the print adhering to the PEI sheet. Mm-hmm. I don't think support was even reading my email at that point because I wasn't having adhesion issues, nor did I ever say I was having adhesion issues. So I got more angry, more frustrated, and replied that, well, you can see it here. And then The next email back was, it was at this point that the support offered to return refund if the printer could not meet your printing requirements. Wow. I really thought they checked out. I took a few deep breaths and I responded 2 weeks later because of, again, a really busy summer, and utter shock at that email. My response was that I wanted to exchange the printer for a new unit. I really wanted to keep the S1 and keep trying because I really thought it was going to be a good printer. I was told to reach out to Micro Center to replace the printer. I did that, and well, Micro Center said no because I was out of the return window from March. They did say that if it was a Bamboo, they would have been able to do it because they have an agreement with Bamboo for issues like this, but not with Anycubic. I took a few more deep breaths and reached back out to support, asking if it could be the strain gauge at this point after seeing others across the web with these issues. Without hesitation, they did send me a new strain gauge to put in. I received it, I put the strain gauge in, and then a few more emails back and forth explaining the issue again and how I could print on the front third of the bed or the back third of the bed, but if I printed on the entire bed with 4 separate objects, the first layer was a mess. The printer wasn't able to either calculate or deal with the large bed mesh offset between the front and the back. At that point, they asked me to provide them with my 3MF file, which I did. And this is where I started to think that this was a Doug doing stuff issue despite years of 3D printing. Maybe I just don't know this printer. Maybe, hopefully, it was my fault, and I was hopeful that it was. Anyways, they sent me a reply, I think by the end of the day, with an included 3MF file with many changes in it. I went ahead and printed that file with no changes on my end. Well, it didn't work. So here I sent the results in with pictures, and I asked, where do we go from here? This was the response I received, and really the purpose of this whole video. I just stared at this response. I actually read it more than a few times to make sure I wasn't getting it wrong. Are you kidding me, support? Really? This is the best printing effect of this printer. You're telling me that this is the best your printer, my printer, can do. Wow. That's, to me, that's full checkout on their part. So, anyway, where do we go from here? So that was July 29th, and that's the last I heard from them on this matter. It seems like I'm on my own, but if you've watched this channel, you know I'm not giving up. I have since installed wrinkles to get a more accurate bed mesh info, and I've been tweaking and tuning and relentlessly going at this to get a good first layer. I've actually been able to get my bed mesh deviation down to anywhere between a 0.4 and a 0.5 because, as you know, it changes every single print. And interestingly, when using a cold plate, BIQ, I think that's how you say it, BIQ cold plate, I can get down around 0.35 to 0.4, but not consistently, of course. So while that's better, it's nowhere near where a modern printer should be. Listen, my old Ender 3s that I was coming from, I'm able to maintain a bed mesh deviation of at maximum 0.1, but usually in like the 0.02 to like 04 range for printing hours on end without even having to recheck it. And that's a problem, right? Like, this is a modern printer. It should be able to do something respectable. So my next step is to try some other bed leveling techniques, methods, before I have to break down and spend money on something like the Fussnor bed from AliExpress. I've actually have 3 beds. I have my original bed, the bed they sent me, and then something a buddy who I've met here through YouTube, who sent me his Anycubic bed from support because he went to the Fussnor one. So I have 3 beds to work with to try and get something respectable for those of you out there who want to give it a shot. Let's hope one of them works. So here's my outro and my thoughts on this whole thing. Throughout this process, I have been seeing on Facebook and Reddit that Anycubic has been quietly updating parts on the S1. The extruder, the filament sensor, the hot end, and what else? It makes me wonder, if they've had this much trouble, why aren't they sending these parts to customers like me who are having many issues? I'm going to say they should. And maybe this next part is a little bit of a tinfoil hat theory, but I think they know they have a problem with the first layer. And I say this because, interestingly, on my Kobra 3 V2, the PEI sheet has huge texture to it versus my Kobra S1 PEI sheet. Look at this. My original S1 plate was more like a 120 grit sandpaper, where the new one on the Kobra 3 V2 is like 60 grit sandpaper. My prints on the Kobra 3 V2 come off with a very reflective surface. And what's interesting is, I have a buddy who bought a Kobra S1 despite all of my issues. Shout out to you, Cones Customs. If you guys need any custom work for your S-gauge trains, reach out to him. Anyway, he bought it, and when we were talking, the new PEI sheet on the Kobra S1 is just like that of the Kobra 3 V2. I think they upped the texture as a way to hide the imperfections in the first layer. When I print the same exact file on my original Kobra S1 PEI sheet as on and then print it again on my Kobra 3 V2 sheet on my S1 because it can fit. On the Kobra 3 V2 PEI sheet, you don't see the lines, but you get a very reflective surface, whereas on the Kobra S1, you can see all those first layer issues. So after all this, I still have the same problem that started back in April. My first layer is not consistent. My bed level is unlevel, and the bed mesh is atrocious. And this printer cannot compensate for this much of a bed warp. I think it's a fundamental issue with the printer and with the bed, which at this point I think we all know. So what do you guys think? Have you had similar issues with your Anycubic printers? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you think about my tinfoil hat issue, or theory, and whatever else you want to put down there. I hope this video helps some of you else out there. I hope you stay tuned, hit the like, hit the subscribe, make a comment, because we're going to be getting into modifying those 3 other beds to try and get them to maintain a level so that we don't have to spend $130 on the Fussnor setup. Thank you and good luck out there. I'm out.